feel like we have so much misinformation online, and there's just actually, it's not misinformation. It's an abundance of information that if you're a beginner, it's like hard to navigate. Even like, where do I even start if I want to build muscle? So I'm trying to make this video to aim towards the beginners or intermediates if you guys want to learn something on how to build muscle. These are just things that I've learned over the years. We're starting completely simple. We're breaking everything down to the complete basics. This is like physics. This is gravity of exercise right here. Here we go. What is a rep? So a rep is a full completion of an exercise. Have you ever seen someone do a bicep curl? They do one bicep curl, that's one rep. Now, reps can get a little bit tricky sometimes because if you're doing single arm movements, then both limbs doing one is actually one. So you can go 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4. Visualize someone doing bicep curls with 2 dumbbells in their hand, and they do one on the left and one on the right. That's 1. Now, a set is a certain amount of reps done in a row. So now you do 8 bench press reps in a row. That is 1 set. After your set, you then rest and repeat it again. And then you repeat this, as you can see, by a 3x8, you do 3 sets for 8 reps. You're doing 8 reps, then resting and repeating that 3 times. That's as simple as we can get in exercise. So if you get a program and you see that, then that's what that is. And if you see a range, like if you see a 6 to 8 rep range, let me throw that on the screen real quick. If we see anything like this, it says 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12. You're trying to get at least 6, and if you get to 8, then you progress. So let's just say 1 week you do 6, 1 week you do 7, 1 week you do 8. The next week you can go back down to 6, go 7, 8. And I'll speak about progressive overload later, but that's what that means. Okay, we're moving up the ranks now. So we got resting. So as I mentioned before, you rest between sets. Anywhere between 45 seconds to 5 minutes between exercises is ample. Depending on how taxing the movement is, sub movements you need a little bit longer. If you're conditioning, you do a little bit shorter rest periods, and in some conditioning you may not even do rest periods at all. It's called high intensity interval. It's another topic in another video. But yeah, anywhere between 45 and 5 minutes works. I usually, for a good benchmark, if you're going to go to failure, 2 minutes is a good rest period. The reason you rest this long is so you can exert the same amount of energy on the next set, so you can get the same amount of stimulus each time and get the maximum stimulus. Because all growing muscle is stimulus through mechanical tension. All that means is you're pushing yourself hard in the gym and you're doing the right exercises. The next tier is resting at home. Muscles need 48 hours to recover between workouts. So if you want to hit the same muscle group again, you have to have at least 1 day in between of complete rest where they're not getting hit. What could this look like? So say on Tuesday you hit upper. You need to at least have Wednesday off before you hit lower again, or upper again, and that would be on Thursday. If not, you get pushed to Friday. More rest is obviously better in some case scenarios. Sleep is very important. I can go on an entire tangent on sleep in another video, but try to get between 8 to 10 hours a night. I know if you're older, you have responsibilities, you have kids that are waking you up in the night. Try to aim for at least 6, if not maybe 5. I wouldn't push it any farther than that, but that's the best you can do. You got to make do with the situations that are given to you, so try your best. All right, so progressive overload. You come to the gym for adaptations, meaning your body gets stronger every single time. So every time you push yourself in the gym, you're trying to make your muscles and your body better at doing that same movement over and over and over again, week after week. So the best way I like to test this is you go with the same weight as you did 1 week. Try to do 2 more reps than you did the previous week beforehand. And once you do that, you know your body's adapted to that weight. And by that time, if you have good form, you can go back down in reps and increase the weight. That's progressive overload simply. I remember my first experience with progressive overload was with a thing called greasing the groove that my old Taekwondo coach used to have me do. It was throughout the entire day, you do 10 push-ups every hour. But it wasn't 10. You start with 1. So every day it'd be 1 push-up every hour. Then the next week, If you could do it, it'd be 2 push-ups every hour. Then the next week, it'd be 3 push-ups every hour, and so on and so forth. All right, calories also could be another topic for another video. It's a common theme if you haven't noticed. But let's keep it simple. Your maintenance calories are the calories you need to maintain the same weight. This means that if you weigh 180, you eat your maintenance, you stay 180 week after week after week. Your maintenance can change, but let's not talk about that right now. If you're in a deficit, you're eating calories below your maintenance. And if you're in a surplus, you're eating calories above your maintenance. This is also known as a cut for deficit and a bulk for surplus. Now, which one you be in these kind of depends on where you stand at the beginning of your fitness journey. If you're someone who's overweight, if you're like an obese person, I'd recommend you be in a deficit so you can burn some of the fat off. If you're skinny fat, I'd recommend you go in maintenance or possibly a surplus so you can put on some muscle. If you're skinny, I'd definitely recommend a bulk because your body will 100% utilize all the resources that you give it, and you'll see great beginner gains by that. And yeah, think about your situation and think about which one you should be in. I recommend small deficits and surpluses. I wouldn't recommend big ones over a long periods of time. So you do the same thing over and over and over again. Consistency is key. That's the key. Doing the same thing over and over and over again. The boring stuff leads to the big things. A huge part of nutrition is eating whole foods. I'd try to find the best single ingredient foods that you can find. They're not crazy expensive. Some people say healthy food is expensive. You can literally just eat ground beef, grilled chicken, and what's another kind of cheap meat? Well, any kind of cheap meat, you can have that. It's as long as it has low ingredients. And you can have rice, and you can have potatoes, and you can have vegetables you can find in the freezer. It doesn't have to be complicated. You don't have to have ground-fed sourdough with a wooden cutting board avocado. No, you don't need that. Just try to keep it simple. If you're a microplastics guy, go avoid your microplastics and navigate the best you can in the shopping center. Protein, keep it very simple. 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You don't really need any more than that. The bottom range, you could hit that and be fine with it. Honestly, I've seen people do like 0.6. I wouldn't really worry about this intake very much. I'd be more worried about carb intake because carbs are your energy. The harder you can push in the gym, the more your muscles grow. And consistency and patience is the single-handedly most important theme that I've brought up multiple times in this. In order to see adaptations, you have to be comfortable with doing the same thing years and years on end. You need to stick with the program you have, or your body won't be able to adapt and grow to its fullest potential. Stop program hopping. Stop looking for the biggest new thing. Growth is about doing the same boring things over and over and over again, like I said previously in the video. So stick with it. Alright, that's all I had for this video. So in the next one, I'll talk about exercise selection, which is basically how to hit your certain body parts by moving your body differently in the gym. You have the tools, or you have some tools. Now go implement them. And as always, stay relentless.